The Last of Us Part 2 is the kind of game that can leave you with a lot of mixed emotions. On one hand, I'd say that it has some of the best third-person shooter gameplay that I've played in a while. Seriously, if there's ever going to be another Rambo game, I'd want Naughty Dog to be the ones to make it. But, in contrast, this zombie game also comes with a heavy dose of a lot of things that I hate in modern games. It starts off slow, I would say painfully slow. It's got lots of bland, traversal gameplay, uninspired environmental puzzles, walking, talking, long scenes of dull dialogue.
Gotta figure out this one now. Well, we believe in you.
But when it does finally get going, there's parts of this game that I love. It's about revenge, but more accurately about the misery and destruction that can come from dedicating an entire life to getting that revenge. And the gameplay matches that bleak message with an excess of violence. For example, when you throw a bomb at people, they don't just get knocked down, they explode into a cloud of blood. And the hand-to-hand melee fighting is particularly nasty looking. Encounters usually start slow and steady, with you crawling around using stealth to take out as many of the enemies as possible, and nothing does that better than the bow. It's tense, but what I like most about it is how quickly things can get out of hand. You can go from feeling in control to out of control in just a few seconds, with enemies swarming around you as you desperately try to bandage yourself up. The gunplay isn't the smoothest or cleanest, but I think that it fits in with the setting and mood of the game. You're no super soldier coolly and calmly taking the enemy out. Instead, it's often more about this panicked struggle to stay alive. And often you can do that best by simply running away in these mad dashes, with a hail of bullets behind you. I love how encounters take place in these large environments, which makes it great for replayability, as it means that fights can play out very differently on new playthroughs. There's also a lot of collectibles and resources to scavenge for, even having a kind of open sandbox section with optional extra buildings to investigate, which you're often led to by the notes left behind by old survivors. Although I'm not quite sure why they only did this sandbox thing once in the game. Also, while I like the idea of crafting and upgrading weapons from the limited scraps you find all over the place, it does soon feel like a bit of a chore going around opening every drawer and scooping up everything on every shelf. There should have been fewer resources around, but then to balance things out, you require fewer to craft and upgrade, so you have to spend less time simply picking things up. This game can be a lot of fun, excellent in fact, but there's a lot of stuff that's not so great in between these moments of fun. Which leads me to briefly talk about the story. Oh boy. I'll keep things spoiler free, but yeah, I can understand why a lot of people hate the way that this story goes. While I personally don't hate the plot, I do think that its pacing and the way that the whole thing is structured isn't that great. I don't mind a story being dark and miserable, especially when it's got such raw, violent gameplay to go along with it, but I think that the main thing that Part 2 is missing, that the original had so much of, is heart. I miss that simple story of a man and a kid learning to work together to defy the odds and survive, no matter how bad the world around them has become. It was simple, but effective. Thanks for watching.